In the cultivation world, danger rarely announced itself with thunder. It moved in silence behind veils of mist, beneath layers of illusion, and within the quiet smiles of those who called themselves allies. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Han Li sat alone in a desolate corner of the grand hall, his figure half veiled in shadow. From beneath lowered lids, he cast an indifferent glance toward the front, where a middle-aged man in black robes stood 300 meters away. In the man's hand rested a faint yellow crystal, its surface dull yet heavy with hidden radiance. As he offered a succinct introduction, turmeric crystal unearthed from the boundless deserts of West Nanjiang. It can only be found a kilometer beneath the endless sands. Incomparably resilient, it is an exceptional material for forging earth attribute magic treasures. Rich with dense earth spiritual qi, it stands among the finest of its kind. The minimum bid is 8,000 spirit stones. Each raise must be no less than 1,000. His voice was steady and unadorned, devoid of theatrical flourish. The auction's conductor possessed nascent soul cultivation. Under Han Li's careful scrutiny, he discerned that the man stood at the peak of the mid-nascent soul stage, the most powerful presence within the hall. With several hundred cultivators of similar standing gathered here, the oppressive weight of their combined spiritual sense could easily crush a lesser cultivator into stupefaction. With such a figure presiding, no one would dare stir trouble. As for the turmeric crystal, though it was a respectable material for earth attribute refinement, only a sparse few showed interest. In the end, it was claimed by an unnamed cultivator for 12,000 spirit stones. The subsequent items fared little better, each receiving only mild attention before passing on. Han Li reclined in his chair, watching with detached calm. The auction would last several days. The treasures unveiled on this first day were, as expected, merely preludes. Though rare enough to interest certain nascent soul cultivators in genuine need, they served largely to occupy time while more attendees gathered. Only toward the day's end would truly valuable items appear, just enough to whet appetites and ensure the hall would be even more crowded on the morrow. That was when bidding wars would truly erupt. With this understanding, Han Li allowed his attention to wander. He lazily observed the other nascent soul cultivators scattered throughout the hall. Though but a fraction of the great Jin's peak experts, they represented its myriad sects, clans, and hidden powers. Yet what drew his gaze most were three large Buddhist monks seated quietly among the crowd, their glossy foreheads gleaming beneath the hall's light. One was gaunt as a withered pine, another round and broad like a contented Buddha statue, and the third bore an amiable face framed by long white brows and beard. All three wore plain grey robes, their heads lowered, breaths slow and steady. This was the first time Han Li had encountered high-grade cultivators from a Buddhist sect. His gaze lingered. The monk seated at the center, clearly the eldest, suddenly lifted his eyes and met Han Li's stare. The gaze appeared warm, serene as still water. Yet the instant their eyes met, Han Li felt his heart tremble as though an unseen bell had tolled within his chest. The old monk's perception was razor-sharp. It was no surprise. Within the great Jin Buddhist sects, stood shoulder to shoulder with Taoist and Confucian factions. Unwilling to arouse even the faintest suspicion, Han Li promptly withdrew his spiritual sense and resumed an expression of distant composure. The old monk regarded him for a brief moment longer before returning to his tranquil state as if nothing had occurred. Aside from the monks, several other cultivators struck Han Li as unusual. Quietly, he began matching faces to the information he had previously gathered regarding the great Jin's various powers. Recognition might prove invaluable in the future. Time drifted by as items were auctioned one after another. Just as he had anticipated, only near the day's end did truly rare materials appear, stirring the previously indifferent crowd to life. The atmosphere in the hall gradually heated, tension thick as coiled silk. Bids clashed fiercely, soaring to astonishing heights. For nascent soul cultivators, opportunities such as these were fleeting. To miss them might mean waiting decades or lifetimes for another chance. A 2-kilogram chunk of ebony gold, the conductor announced, unveiling a jade plate. Upon it lay a pitch-black lump of metal, faint threads of golden light flickering across its surface like distant lightning beneath storm clouds. An exceedingly rare refinement material. Starting bid 30,000 spirit stones. Each raise must be no less than 2,000. Han Li's body stiffened almost imperceptibly. A glint flashed through his eyes. Ebony gold. He had sought it for a long time. To encounter it here so soon was beyond expectation. 36,000, 40,000, 45,000. The bids rose in rapid succession, echoing sharply through the hall before Han Li could even speak. He merely frowned, remaining silent. Since he was determined to obtain it, he would not waste effort in trivial increments. He would strike when the moment was right. 60,000 spirit stones. An unknown cultivator called out. The hall fell abruptly quiet. Han Li lifted his jade badge. A faint light shimmered from it as his voice rang clear and firm. 65,000. 67,000 spirit stones. The opposing bidder sounded resolute, yet a trace of hesitation lingered beneath the words. 70,000. Silence stretched for a breath. Then, 期末5千令士. The cold voice that followed sliced through the air like winter wind. Both Han Li and the conductor paused in surprise. Murmurs rippled through the hall. Han Li recovered first. 80,000. 82. The voice remained calm, unwavering. Heads turned. At the back of the hall sat a figure shrouded in dim black mist. Though his features were obscured, one could discern the outline of an old man beneath the haze. Han Li felt a flicker of irritation, but he had no intention of dragging matters out. 120,000 spirit stones. The number fell like a thunderclap. Shock swept through the hall. Such a sum could purchase a respectable ancient treasure, far exceeding the customary worth of ebony gold. An uproar ensued. Numerous cultivators stared toward Han Li, yet he now wore the guise of a sallow-faced stranger. None recognized him. Unperturbed, Han Li ignored their gazes and focused solely on his opponent. The old man in black mist was clearly taken aback. To bid further would risk exhausting the spirit stones needed for an even more crucial material yet to appear. And from the ferocity of this unknown cultivator's offer, it was evident he would not yield easily. After a tense pause, the old man fell silent. The conductor swiftly finalized the sale. Ebony gold belonged to Han Li. Though the exchange was brief, it had drawn considerable attention to both men. Thereafter, nothing else stirred Han Li's interest. Having secured his prize, he sat in quiet repose. Later, when an even rarer material, fire-part sand, appeared, the old man, shrouded in black chi, engaged in fierce competition with several cultivators. In the end, he secured it for over 200,000 spirit stones. Though extravagant, his spending was not unmatched. By the auction's conclusion, high-grade ancient treasures and rare medicinal pills had sold for 300,000 spirit stones or more. Yet to expend over 200,000 on refinement materials alone was undeniably striking. As the first day ended, Han Li departed with the dispersing crowd. The Yin Sifting Sect's group no longer lingered at the entrance as though they had abandoned any designs upon him. A faint smile touched his lips as he returned calmly to the Taoist monastery. Meanwhile, the mysterious man cloaked in black chi slipped quietly into an unremarkable residence within the Jin capital. Waiting inside was an old man in a black hat, the representative of the Ye clan. Without a word, he handed over the fire-part sand. The old man accepted it with a pleased smile. "I've already heard about the ebony gold. Many thanks for your efforts, fellow Taoist Gao. I did not expect someone to bid so outrageously high, or I would have prepared more spirit stones. Fortunately, another batch of ebony gold is rumored to appear at the underground auction in a few days. I've inquired about the exchange terms and prepared accordingly. I will have to trouble you once more." Taoist Gao gave a dry chuckle. Brother Yunyi provided ample spirit stones. I was merely concerned I might fail to secure the fire-part sand that was the true uncertainty. Naturally, I will attend the underground auction. With fellow Taoist Gao overseeing matters, I am at ease. Yunyi nodded in satisfaction and presented a jade box. I have prepared a medicinal pill for the trade. Once the matter concludes, several more shall be yours as reward. Since Brother Yunyi honors his word, I shall do my utmost, Old Man Gao replied warmly. He examined the pill within the box, eyes gleaming faintly, then accepted a storage pouch of spirit stones and a jade slip detailing the items to be acquired on the following day, before quietly taking his leave. When Yunyi watched Old Man Gao's figure disappear beyond the threshold, the warmth in his eyes faded like mist beneath a rising sun. The smile that had lingered upon his lips vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a calculating calm. After nightfall, Yunyi met with two wandering core formation cultivators. The exchanges were brief and precise. Several rare materials changed hands. Spirit stones and rewards followed, and the two itinerant cultivators departed with delighted expressions, unaware of the deeper currents beneath the transaction. In the days that followed, Han Li returned each morning to the Nine Firmaments Hall to attend the grand auction. Having obtained ebony gold on the first day, his expectations were quietly kindled. Fortune had favored him once, perhaps it would do so again. Yet matters unfolded exactly as Old Man Fu had predicted. Aside from a handful of exceptional items presented at each day's end, nothing approached the rarity Han Li sought. And among those prized pieces, most were already completed magic treasures rather than raw materials suitable for refinement. It seemed the appearance of ebony gold had been no more than a stroke of fleeting luck. Thus, while his body attended the grand auction, Han Li's mind was already turning elsewhere. He began discreetly inquiring about the underground auction rumored to occur alongside the official one. From the information he gathered, the first several days of the underground and grand auctions differed little, save for a stronger emphasis on Devil Dao materials. However, on the final day, a private trade fair would be held restricted to nascent soul cultivators. In years past, truly rare and extraordinary items had surfaced there. It was very likely that the materials he sought might appear within that hidden gathering. But participation was not open to all. Only cultivators affiliated with the Devil Dao or those personally recommended could gain entry. Having clarified this, Han Li temporarily set the matter aside and returned his attention to the grand auction. Several days slipped by like flowing water. At last the final day arrived. Fortune stirred once more. Another material he required appeared upon the jade platform. His composure trembled only slightly as he joined the bidding, and after a tense exchange, he secured it for a price exceeding 100,000 spirit stones. Not long after the grand auction drew to a close, Han Li departed with the tide of cultivators, but rather than leave the marketplace, he quietly altered his direction and headed toward the hidden fortune pavilion. Unbeknownst to him, this subtle choice spared him from impending misfortune. The Yin Sifting Sect elders, who had vanished days earlier, had reappeared at the marketplace entrance. This time the soaring skies saintess accompanied them. She stood beneath the lantern-lit eaves, delicately holding a small mirror that shimmered with silver light. The mirror's surface rippled faintly, as though reflecting something beyond mere appearances. Her gaze swept across the cultivators exiting the marketplace, occasionally dropping to the mirror before lifting again, brows faintly furrowed. As time passed, the silver radiance grew brighter, flickering like moonlight upon water. Yet the saintess remained silent. Tianhao and the others gradually darkened in expression. What began as confidence slowly curdled into unease. At last she sighed softly. I have detected many cultivators concealing their appearances with illusion techniques, she said hesitantly. But I have not seen him. Could it be that he never attended the grand auction? If so, these past days have been spent in vain. Impossible, Tianhao replied firmly. Every high-grade cultivator who arrived in the Jin capital recently should have participated. I personally saw him gazing toward the Treasure Shine Hall when we first encountered him. His intentions were unmistakable. The saintess nodded unconsciously, yet the weight in her expression did not lift. The sharp-eyed Yin Sifting Sect elder spoke cautiously. Could it be that the Clearsound mirror is not as miraculous as rumored? Or perhaps fellow Taoist Lin has yet to fully refine it? That cannot be, she answered, shaking her head. The Clearsound mirror is one of Taoist Seven Wonders' seven profound treasures. Its fame echoes throughout the cultivation world. As for refinement, it is a peculiar ancient treasure. Only minimal attunement is required to unleash its full effect. Several days have been more than sufficient. I have already pierced through the disguises of numerous eccentrics here. Only the rarest, most flawless illusion techniques could evade it. Tianhao's eyes flickered thoughtfully. So that is the case. If the mirror could not reveal him, then either he remained within the marketplace on other business, or he departed by some alternate means. Given the Clearsound mirror's reputation, only a scant few illusion arts could resist it. It is unlikely he cultivates such a technique. As for escape, the marketplace is encased within the illustrious 8 Light Peaks formation. Silent departure would be nearly impossible. Most likely he remains inside. The sharp-eyed elder asked, "What does fellow Taoist Lin intend?" "We wait," the saintess replied. "If he remains, he must eventually leave through here. Meanwhile, dispatch clever disciples to wander within and search for any trace." Tianhao considered briefly before nodding. "Reasonable. We will remain until nightfall. If he is there, he will emerge." He raised his hand, releasing several sound transmission talismans that streaked into the air. Before long, a group of low-grade disciples arrived, received instructions, and vanished back into the marketplace. While they searched fruitlessly, the man they sought sat calmly within the hidden fortune pavilion unmasked. In his true appearance, Elder Wang was aware of Han Li's arrangement with Old Man Fu, yet he paid it little heed. Instead, he personally hosted Han Li within the esteemed guest lounge, his enthusiasm unmistakable. The two conversed at length, exchanging insights into cultivation. As understanding deepened, their discussion grew animated and spirited. When Old Man Fu finally arrived and beheld them engaged in discourse, he joined without ceremony, laughter echoing lightly within the chamber. Their exchange continued until the sun dipped beyond the horizon. At last they parted with knowing smiles, each having gained something of value. Old Man Fu and Han Li bade farewell to Elder Wang and departed. The moment they stepped outside, Han Li's features blurred, shifting seamlessly into the unfamiliar sallow-faced cultivator he had worn before. Old Man Fu started slightly at the transformation, but quickly regained composure, offering no comment. Instead, it was Han Li who grew surprised. Rather than heading toward the marketplace entrance, Old Man Fu led him to a nearby establishment bearing the plaque Spirit Rinse Study. Brother Fu, Han Li asked quietly, "Is this the place?" Old Man Fu chuckled. "The Spirit Rinse Study is a private enterprise. Its master has been my friend for many years. Recently, he installed a teleportation formation within. It leads directly to the site of the underground auction. I have already informed him of our arrival. I recall that teleportation within the marketplace is restricted," Han Li said, faintly astonished. "Ordinarily, yes," Old Man Fu replied lightly. "But my friend holds considerable reputation. He secured a temporary permit. The formation will exist only for a few months, and very few are aware of it. So that is the case." The master of the Spirit Rinse Study was a fair-skinned old man of refined bearing. His demeanor was unhurried, his speech elegant, leaving a refreshing impression upon those who spoke with him. To Han Li's quiet surprise, he was in fact a renowned grandmaster of spell formations. Alas, there was no time for extended discourse. Eager to attend the underground trade fair, they entered a concealed chamber and activated a modest teleportation array. In the blink of an eye, the world shifted. They emerged within an unremarkable hidden cave. Upon exiting and taking flight, Han Li discerned they were near a southern mountain outside the Jin capital. In the distance, the colossal city walls loomed faintly against the night sky. Meanwhile, back at the marketplace entrance, Tianhao glanced upward at the darkened heavens. After a moment of contemplation, he spoke. Fellow Taoist Lin, the underground trade fair is about to begin. Many items there may greatly benefit my cultivation. Night has fallen and the disciples have found nothing. Perhaps we misjudged his whereabouts. He is cunning, it is possible he never came. Since you missed the grand auction, it would be better to attend this trade fair. Even if he appears there, you will not return empty-handed. The saintess bit her lip and cast one final look toward the marketplace. Reluctance lingered in her eyes. Action is better than waiting in vain, she murmured. Very well, I shall accompany you. Perhaps there will indeed be something to gain. Soon after, Tianhao exchanged brief words with the others. Two nascent soul elders remained behind to guard the entrance, while he and the saintess led the rest toward the underground gathering. As for the sharp-eyed elder and another companion, they quietly excused themselves, harboring plans of their own. Thus, by the whim of fate and misaligned timing, the Yin Sifting Sect elders dispersed just before their paths could once again cross with Han Li. Not long after the Yin Sifting Sect members departed, two figures flickered into existence from a nearby building like ghosts slipping free from shadow. When they saw the market entrance standing empty and unguarded, their expressions turned solemn. Without a word spoken aloud, they exchanged several rapid voice transmissions. A silent understanding passed between them before they set off in pursuit of the Yin Sifting Sect cultivators. Upon reaching the marketplace gate, the two split apart without hesitation. One of them produced a small flag no larger than a palm, with a subtle wave. His body dissolved into a billowing cloud of purple smoke that drifted soundlessly into the night sky, chasing after Tianhao's group like a wisp of vengeful mist. The other transformed into a streak of light, cutting through the heavens toward the direction of the imperial city. Oh, near an unnamed mountain, not far from the Jin capital, Old Man Fu cast Han Li a sidelong glance, curiosity flickering in his aged eyes. "Do you not have anything you wish to ask?" he inquired leisurely. After emerging from the teleportation formation, Han Li had quietly inspected every inch of the array, his divine sense sweeping through its runes and lingering traces. Finding nothing amiss, he finally allowed himself to relax. His expression remained calm as he replied, "What would be the use? Though I do wonder why Brother Fu chose teleportation to leave the market, I am certain you have your reasons." Han Li's vigilance had not escaped Old Man Fu's notice. Yet instead of annoyance, satisfaction glimmered faintly in the elder's gaze. Narrowing his eyes, Old Man Fu allowed a faintly enigmatic smile to surface. "The reason is simple. I received word that Yin Sifting Sect cultivators were lying in wait at the market entrance. I assumed fellow Taoist Han would not be eager to encounter them, so I made a small detour. I trust you do not consider me overly meddlesome." Han Li's heart gave a subtle tremor, though his expression did not shift in the slightest. "Brother Fu, what are you implying?" Old Man Fu chuckled softly. "There is no need for concern. If I bore you ill intent, I would have prepared an ambush here instead. When you stood before the Treasure Shine Hall, did you not have a minor clash with Tianhao and his people?" Silence lingered between them for a moment. "I did not expect Brother Fu to be so well informed," Han Li finally admitted. "But I cannot fathom why you would assist me. Surely you would not risk offending the Yin Sifting Sect merely because of our acquaintance." "Risk offending them?" Old Man Fu replied evenly. "It seems Brother Han is unaware of my origins. I serve as the enforcement elder of the Nine Serenities sect." At those words, Han Li's mind stirred. "One of the 10 great devil Tao sects." Old Man Fu continued calmly, "Our sect and the Yin Sifting Sect have long been at odds. If an opportunity arises to inconvenience them, I would hardly object. That said, my assistance was not entirely without motive. I have a matter in which I require your help." Han Li's vigilance deepened, though he maintained composure. "The Nine Serenities sect. I have long heard of its formidable reputation. Forgive my earlier ignorance, but with a sect of such magnitude behind you, why would you require assistance from an outsider like myself?" "This matter is private," Old Man Fu replied with a faint smile. I cannot involve my sect. There is no need to discuss it now. Once the trade fair concludes, we may speak further. There will be benefits for you, but if the conditions displease you, I shall not compel your agreement." After brief contemplation, Han Li smiled lightly. "In that case, I will hear you out when the time comes. Having already offended one of the 10 great devil Dao sects, it would be unwise to antagonize another. For now, a non-committal promise would suffice." Old Man Fu's face brightened. Brother Han is indeed straightforward. Come, the trade fair lies not far ahead. With that, he rose into the air robes fluttering like dark clouds. They traveled swiftly, arriving at a barren mountain range more than 1,000 kilometers from the Jin capital. Circling among countless indistinguishable peaks, they descended before a weathered stone cliff stained with moss and earth. It appeared utterly mundane. Han Li's gaze, however, swept the surrounding terrain rather than the cliff itself. They stood within a deep, overgrown valley. Without guidance, he would never have sensed cultivators concealed nearby. Old Man Fu moved with practiced ease. With a casual flick of his sleeve, a palm-sized formation plate flew forth, shimmering with white light before embedding itself seamlessly into the stone. Moments later, the cliff face ignited with brilliant yellow radiance and dissolved like mist before sunlight, revealing a cavern entrance over 30 meters wide. 2 green-robed, middle-aged cultivators stood guard within. Both possessed late core formation cultivation. One held Old Man Fu's formation plate in hand. The cultivator returned the plate with a respectful salute. "So it is Senior Fu." This other senior appears unfamiliar. "May I inquire as to his esteemed name?" Old Man Fu waved dismissively. "This is fellow Taoist Han, a cultivator from overseas. I have already recommended him. What more is there to verify? Issue him an identity plate so we may proceed." The green-robed cultivator smiled courteously. "Since Senior Fu vouches for him, there will naturally be no issue. This is a nascent soul stage identity plate. Should any rules be violated, it will be confiscated. The plate permits participation in 4 trade meets, though payment is required only for the first. The fee is 10,000 spirit stones." Though the sum caused a faint pang in his heart, Han Li produced a storage pouch without hesitation. After confirming the contents, the cultivator handed him a jade plate inscribed with the number 347. Han Li raised an eyebrow. 347? Are there so many participants? Not quite, the other guard explained. Many seniors are unable to attend for various reasons. In practice, no more than 200 will be present. That is still considerable, Han Li nodded. Old Man Fu gestured inward. "It is time. If the opportunity arises, I shall convey my regards to your master." With that, he led Han Li deeper into the cavern. As they walked, Han Li asked quietly, "Their cultivation was not lacking. From your tone, it seemed they share the same master." Old Man Fu chuckled. "Have you heard of the 4 great vagrant cultivators of the Great Jin?" "Of course." "Is their master one of them?" "Indeed. Their master is fellow Taoist Yi Sitian, the most enigmatic among the 4. He has dwelled in late nascent soul stage for many years, his depth immeasurable. I once witnessed him slay a grade 8 demon beast with effortless grace. It is said that he and another are the 2 most likely in the Great Jin to ascend to the deity transformation stage." Han Li's curiosity stirred. "And who is the other?" Old Man Fu gave a wry smile. "Monk Jade Moon of the Buddhist cleansing fire sect. In merely 400 years, he entered late nascent soul stage. A prodigy seen perhaps once in 10,000 years. Compared to those 2, the rest of us are but ordinary talents. Brother Fu is too modest. Your cultivation is already profound. Late nascent soul seems but a step away." "Nonsense, old man," Fu snorted lightly. "I have been trapped at this bottleneck for 3 centuries. I have long since abandoned hope. On the contrary, you have only recently entered mid to nascent soul stage. Perhaps it is you who will advance further." Han Li laughed dryly. Brother Fu jests. As they advanced, a soft white glow appeared ahead. Moments later, the cavern opened into a vast underground hall, bathed in radiance and filled with the murmur of gathered cultivators. A faint excitement stirred within Han Li's heart. Over 50 kilometers away, Ge Tianhao stood wreathed in surging black qi, his expression savage and grim. In his iron grip, he held the head of an unfamiliar cultivator. Dark energy writhed between his fingers as he forcibly extracted the man's memories with a brutal soul-searching technique. The victim's features twisted grotesquely. His eyes flickered wildly, his body convulsed as unbearable agony coursed through him. The endless sky saintess and a black-robed middle-aged cultivator observed coldly from the side. Moments later, the victim gave a final tremor. Black blood streamed from his nose as life fled his body, collapsing limply to the ground. Ge Tianhao released him without ceremony. With a flick of his sleeve, black flames erupted, devouring the corpse, until nothing remained but drifting ash. He closed his eyes, sifting through the plundered memories. When he opened them again, a dark glint shimmered within. The saintess stepped forward slightly. Who was he? And why was he secretly following us? That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.